here we are to start the first match of the Super Kegler TV Challenge Bowling Tournament here at Columbia Bowling Center. We have 5 bowlers that made the final round, and our first match will start off with Rafael Rojas against Denny Rittenhouse. Strong field today, the top 5 bowlers. Rafael comes up a bit high on lane 1, leaves the 6 and 10. Pretty much a routine cross alley spare. What you're going to see today, our top 5 bowlers are all 200 plus average players. Rafael Rojas with a high game of career high 300 as he converts the 610. And now he'll hand it over to Denny Rittenhouse.
It'll be interesting to see how these young gentlemen can handle the TV pressure. It's the first time for both of them to be on the TV.
Denny Rittenhouse was a junior bowler up until this year, so getting some experience today. And he got some good pin action on lane 2. He trips the 2 forward. It's a light hit, gets a good break. Starts with a strike.
Both of these guys can turn the ball up pretty good. You'll see some pretty good crankers here in this TV finals.
Yes, the winner of this match goes on to face Keith Goodley of Lancaster.
And Denny starts with a double.
That takes the pressure off.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier.
We had a very high scoring lane condition here today. Of the 101 entries that started today, it took a 3-game series of 680 or better in order to make the top 20 semifinals.
Yeah, the scores were a little higher this week compared to some of the finals.
So hopefully we'll see some good scoring action in our TV final rounds. We've had some low scores in the past, which gives us a lot to talk about, the different despairs that they leave and splits. So maybe today we'll see bowlers stringing more strikes, as Rafael has 20 in the first frame with a strike up.
Take notice to Rafael's very high delivery. Really gets down on the ball.
Comes up high on lane 1 and leaves a near impossible split, the 4, 6, and 10. Now in a situation like this, what would you say? Recommend go for 2 pins?
Yeah, you almost have to go for 2 early on like this. If it's late in the game and you're behind, you give it all you got, try to fly it across.
Working on a strike, every pin you knock down here is worth double. But he takes the 10 off and leaves 2 pins standing, which gives him a total count of 46 in the 3rd frame. And he falls way behind early on in the match to Denny Rittenhouse. Denny's listed as his profession. He's a high school student. So I'm sure everybody at the school that he attends will be watching him bowling on suburban cable. Gets another good break on lane 2. He came up light in the first frame on lane 2, and he tripped the 2 pin forward, and he comes up light again and leaves the 2 and 4 spare combination.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier that Denny just came out of the junior league last year. Bowlers, you can do that, but you must be ready for the severe competition you will meet.
Even though he's only 17 years old, he's been bowling for 13 years. So he started at a very early age, as many of our top 5 finalists, I'm sure, have started early in their bowling careers. But he leaves the 4 stand, so he's not quite getting the reaction I think that he was anticipating. As you see, a 10-pin lead for Denny Rittenhouse through 3 frames. He had a chance there, and it may be a bit inexperience on his part, that he had Rafael Rojas down early, and he lets him right back in the game. So it's very important that you fill frames. If you don't strike on the first ball, you have to make that spare. He recovers nicely, back on lane 1, and with another strike. So it's funny how the scoring works. He has 3 strikes out of 4, And Rafael Rojas has 1 strike through 3 frames, and yet is only down by 1 mark.
And he's on the pair now where he struck the last time. He'd like to get one to stay in this. Goes a little wide.
Comes up light on lane 2. And Rafael Rojas with a lot of tournament experience. You see him around the county in the weekend tournaments and things. His best finish in a tournament in the Kegler was a 5th place finish. And he carries a 212 average. Splitting his leagues evenly between Leisure lanes and Rocky Springs lanes, both in Lancaster.
Rafael's high delivery gives him a lot of speed on the ball. When the lanes are hooking, that's really an advantage for him.
He gets a real nice reaction on lane 1, trips the 4-pin for a strike. So my partner today, Ed Fisher Jr. from Lancaster, just narrowly missed the semifinals.
Yeah, it was close, but you got to make him spares. That's what cost me.
Missed a spare, is that right?
Yep, 10th frame.
Okay. Denny leaves the 10-pin, and oftentimes we hear people say, right in the pocket and left the 10-pin. However, if you could see that ball in slow motion, that was still a little bit light in the pocket.
It's very deceiving. Bowlers feel that when that ball hits that pocket, it should be kicking that 10-pin out. But the way the pins come off of that, a lot of times you don't kick it out.
Cross alley and converts the 10 very nicely.
It's very important to be able to do just that, make his spares. Many a bowler is frustrated by a 10-pin.
Denny Rittenhouse, high game 300 and high 3-game series of 803.
Yeah, and that's really this year, first year out of the juniors, so you know that he felt he was ready to move on.
Still a close game.
He moved to 10, but not enough.
Made a nice shot, just didn't get the break he was looking for. So it's back-to-back single pins for Denny Rittenhouse.
Uh-oh. Got a little careless with that.
Well, it's hard to say who's going to win this game, but if he should fail to win this game, look no further than missing the 2-4 spare combination or the single pin. It's tough when you're sitting there and you realize that it's just a mental error most of the times that causes you to miss a single pin. And Rafael, with his tournament experience, he wants to jump all over those mistakes of Denny Rittenhouse.
Yeah, that was a big ball for Rafael. He knows the importance of that double.
Put him right back in the lead. Yeah, we had a great field here today, 101 entries, which was, we're very pleased with the turnout. We had 25 people win cash prizes, and we have $500 guaranteed to the winner of the tournament today. And it's 3 strikes in a row for Rafael Rojas.
Yeah, the field was pretty strong today. There was quite a few women that made good showings. There was a couple that just barely missed it.
Our tournament is open to men and women that are ABC or WIBC members.
It appears Denny's just a little too fast. He's not quite getting that last-minute reaction that he needs.
And it also may be that lane 1 could be hooking a touch more than lane 2 because his ball seems to hook more on lane 1. And it's hard to tell if Rafael is getting the same reaction or not. I'm not too sure. Our TV finals will be aired on Suburban Cable Channel 10, Monday nights and Thursday nights at 8 p.m.
This is an important shot for Denny. He needs to carry this to try to get some momentum back in.
It's a very nice shot.
Yeah, he appeared to go a little wider on that one and slow it down.
I think sometimes it's difficult to trust to get the ball out to the right when you need to in a critical situation, but he did a very nice shot on that lane 1. So we have 124 in the 7th, strike up in the 8th for Denny Rittenhouse. And Rafael Rojas working on 3 in a row. Make it 4.
Rafael's been down this road before. He knows the importance of just keeping the pressure on until he's sure that it's locked up.
32 pins is the lead. And it's hard to beat all strikes. When a guy keeps throwing strikes at you, there's not a whole lot you can do other than just stay in the game and hope they make a mistake.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of defense in this game. It's all offense.
I think the turning point was missing that 10 pin. Back-to-back 10 pins, which could have been strikes, and he made the adjustment. Beautiful shot for Denny on lane 2 as we see him smile. Great experience for the young player. And if he strikes out in the 10th, it'll be possible if he strikes out 214. Very respectable score for Denny. Carries a 216 average in his leagues.
He's going to try to punch it out here in the 10th.
If he takes a look at the score, he knows all he can do is throw strikes and hope for a disaster for Rafael, but I don't know if even that will be enough. I think we have a...
Well, if he punches out for 214, that forces Rafael to at least mark here in the 10th.
Okay.
So it is important. And he's going to do everything he can.
It's all offense in this game, like you said earlier. Even though you're frustrated, you know you're down a little bit, you still have to put everything you have into each shot and keep your head in the game, because you just never know what's going to happen.
Well, once he started trusting the ball, he was okay.
Yeah. 2 10 pins in a row, and then 5 strikes in a row. So, really nice game for Denny Rittenhouse. Could have been a lot higher scoring. 214 with 2 fairly simple spare misses, which would normally, a player of Denny's caliber, he would make those spares. And Rafael.
That will lock it up for Rafael.
Makes it 6 strikes in a row.
Strike out here for a 246. Very respectable.
And he'll face an extremely tough opponent in Keith Goodling, who's warming up a few lanes away. And Keith Goodling is just on fire today. He led the qualifying with a 778 3-game series. Just fantastic scoring. As we see a 2 and 5 spare lead, which is really immaterial at this point for Rafael Rojas. If he converts, it'll be a 234, and he does. So we have our winner of the first game, Rafael Rojas, with a 234 to Denny Rittenhouse, 214. And that'll finish up the first game. We'll go to commercial, and we'll come back for the start of our second match right after this.